Hello, this is a video about how I deal with noisy backgrounds in my close-up images. There are 4 reasons I can think of why I have noisy backgrounds. One is that I use a small sensor camera most of the time for this sort of imaging, and that has a noisy sensor. I sometimes crop a lot, and that brings up noise. I sometimes raise shadows a lot. That too can reveal noise. And I also get something which isn't actually noise. It's an artifact of the sharpening that I use. I process my images, and by the way, this technique works just in Lightroom. So what I'm going to describe is just to let you know how I process my images, but the technique I use will work by itself in Lightroom. But I start off processing my images in DxO Optics Pro, and that includes noise reduction, prime noise reduction on my raw files. And then I put them through Silky Picks and apply some rather strong sharpening, which brings out detail nicely. But it does produce artifacts. It's like a very fine mesh. It's like noise, but it's more regular. But it's like noise. It is ugly. Then when the file gets to Lightroom, after having gone through DxO and Silky Picks, it can have actual real noise. It's a luminance noise, or it can have this noise-like structure, fine structure that Silky Picks adds to it. And sometimes this, and I'll call it just all noise for the sake of simplicity, sometimes this noise can be rather strong, and I've developed a technique which can deal with strong noise. Now, one of the things you can do is you can use the adjustment brush in Lightroom, and you can turn up the noise reduction and then paint where you want the noise reduction applied. I didn't have auto mask on there, and I should have, so if I delete that one, I can put auto mask on and I can paint around. I find this a bit fiddly to do, because you then got to go over the whole image, and with a complicated image it can get a bit tedious. The problem is, though, that the amount of noise reduction that you can apply with the adjustment brush is limited, and it's simply not strong enough for some of what I want to do. So I use a different technique. I'll put the adjustment brush away just for the moment. I start by applying a lot of noise reduction to the whole image. Now this, it turns out, is stronger, much stronger than the noise reduction you can get out of the adjustment brush, and it really does kill detail. So having applied all this luminance noise reduction, I've now got an image which is, the detail is lost to a very large extent. So what I'm now going to do is to go back to the adjustment brush, and I'm going to turn the noise setting to the minimum. And it turns out that what this does is to completely remove all the noise reduction that's been applied. So I'm going to turn auto mask off and just quickly brush over the areas concerned. So I've now got lots of noise reduction applied to a lot of this, but obviously there are areas here where I do want the noise reduction applied. So if I hold down the Alt key, it's now going to remove the noise reduction, but this time I've got auto mask on. So I really only have to very approximately go through these, go around the edges and into any sort of bigger holes it doesn't really notice, I think, with very small holes. I'm not too fussy about little areas like that, because I think the eye needs a certain amount of area to register the fact that there's something strange going on by way of the noise. And there we have it. I've now got an image which has very strong noise reduction applied everywhere now that isn't red, and no noise reduction applied to the areas where I want the detail to show. So if we have a look at another one, so same thing, I turn the luminance noise reduction right up and go to the adjustment brush, have it set for to take all the noise out, and really that's the only bit that matters in this image. And I then brush away the stuff that I don't want. So again, this is quite quick. And finally, here's a more complicated example. And oh, I think I've already, no I haven't, that's okay. So what I want is, yes, I want this insect to the detail to show, but there's also some detail here on, oh, I have already got, right, I'm just going to delete what I did earlier. So I've got this crane fly, and there's some detail down here, and possibly up here as well, that I do want. And sometimes you get other areas where around the place where you don't want to kill the detail. So I'll do the same thing again. Where am I? Oh yes, apply a lot of noise reduction, but there we go, I've done that already. So the whole thing now has the detail squashed out of it. I go to the adjustment brush and have the noise turned right down, and then I'll brush starting down here on this leaf. So I'll go up and around. Now a lot of these, the legs, the far part of the legs, are out of focus anyway, so I'm not really bothered about the detail on them. And then down here on the leaf, the masking has extended out beyond the leaf. So again, I turn the brush negative, and again I just go around and take it out where I don't want it. Oh, and here's an area where I might in fact want it, up there, but I might want it there. So that's done that one. And it's quite quick, even with more complicated images. And that's the way I do it. So I get my subjects with full detail and my backgrounds with the noise absolutely squashed out. So that's it for now. Goodbye.